Welcome to see my homemade tractor. That I have made out of scrap metal that I collected from friends. Others were being sold to dealers. And because I had the idea to make a tractor, I came and tried some mechanics here.
Mimi sikuwa nikijua ni nini naundwa, lakini baadaye nilikuja kugundua ni tinga na tukaitengeneza, tukaichoma kila kitu mpaka tukamalizia.
Peter came and asked me for some spares, and I took him around my garage, and then he took what he thought was useful for his fabrication, and so I gave him. I gave him some parts like gearbox and the small other things which I can't remember now because we were always in touch.
My profession is actually teaching. I retired from Mukeke Boys High School 3 years ago. And after I retired, I had all the time to think, innovate, and do quite a lot. I was teaching music. I was also teaching design, art and design. I was teaching English sometimes. But my main interest is to innovate, to make something out of nothing, make something exist that never existed before.
I was interested with what he was intending to make, and I encouraged him to do it, and I find that it is something that our people can emulate and come up with something which can perhaps help this country become a country which can rely on some of the items which are locally available and they can be made use of.
So when I came home, then I was thinking of having a tractor so that I can work in the garden, I can take manure to the garden, I can do some work, I can also even carry water and do quite a lot of work. But I wanted something that could go inside the garden where there is soil without minding whether it will be scratched or what. And this is what I came up with. Maybe the first thing is to show you the parts that I used to make this tractor. I'll show you the engine later. But we can begin with the steering system. This one was from a Pinjot, from an old Pinjot that had stored for long. And when I came here, I improvised this kind of here where I would attach the steering system on, and you can see how it is connected there. It goes all the way up to the front there, and then you can see it works on the front tires to pull them to one side. When I steer like that, I think that's the maximum that it can go. You can see it can turn quite a lot. It can turn as much as I want to turn it. So that is the steering system. I did a lot of improvisation, attachment, and at last that's what I came up with. So this is the cover that covers the engine to protect it from rain. I just bought Power Italia from town here. This is an engine used for cutting grass, even for water pumps. It is an engine that can be used in many of the systems we have around here. It has two pulleys here. This is now from the engine. Then now I ordered somebody to make this bigger pulley here. Is the one that is rotated by the engine, then to rotate the shaft that is in the that comes to the gearbox. This is a gearbox from an old Suzuki which I got from a friend who was willing to almost give it free. And it has all the parts. It has the gears. It has gear number 1 there, gear number 2, gear number 3, number 4, and then the reverse gear is there. This one, I use all of them depending on the speed at which I'm driving. I had to improvise this accelerator here. This acceleration system here, you can see this is the normal accelerator, but I had to put a spring so that when you press the accelerator here, you can see this part moving. This is the brake system. This is a manual one. See the parts here moving for the brakes. That's a manual one. Maybe it is not very effective. So I thought of having a different one, an hydraulic one. And this is what I'm fixing at the moment. This is a hydraulic brake system. It is not yet working, but I want it to work because it's better. Here is the dip. It is connected to the gearbox, which then transmits the power to the tires, where to attach the plow, where to attach also a cart, something to pull. This seat I just improvised myself. I put it, I made it. It can be dismantled, it can be, like that. But how it is fixed, I have this there, and then this one over that way. So this wire here I fixed so that I can operate the choke system while seated on the driver's seat. And therefore you can see that when I move this wire, then the choke moves. You can see it moving over there. That is now to choke it. And once the engine has started, then you move the choke to that side. You can see it has moved. So I move it while seated on the driver's seat. Over here, this is the switch. Normally, these engines are switched on here, but I found that I need to operate the switch while seated on the driver's seat. And then that's when I fixed this. You can always now, when it's there, it's on, although it is the opposite of the signs. That's when it is on, you can start the engine. And then once you stop, you can see the connection comes up to here, where you would have used this switch, but now through wiring, which I improvised, which I did myself, then you can switch on and off the engine while seated on the driver's seat. So that is on now. Then when you want to switch off the engine, to move it to that side. This is the clutch. This is the old models of vehicles that used clutches. But this is my own clutch. You can see this is a bicycle pedal that I used here. And I looked for a way of attaching it here. The idea is to make it pull down this wire. And when you press your foot here, it will lift this thing up. Yeah, once it is lifted, then these belts become loose. And this is a very important, it is very important for a clutch and for you to engage a different gear. Otherwise, without this clutch, then you cannot engage gears. This is very important for this. It took me quite a lot of thinking, and I had to think a lot to come up with this system. I made it myself. So once you release the clutch, then you can see the belts, because of this spring, they become tight. They are now tight. Once they are tight, now you can move. If you want to engage a gear, you press the clutch, the belts become loose, and then you engage the next gear, then you release, and the vehicle moves. Okay, I think that's basically what we need to know. Let's see then how it works. I'll not repeat what I shall be doing. I want you to watch what I'll do to start the engine. And then after I start, I'll move, go and reverse, then come back. Just to watch what happens here. because you have to start using the starter here, then you operate this is now what we call the choke system. You pull it, and then after you pull, make sure the engine is on, and then must make sure that you are at free gear, and then from there you can now